since we were talking about Kamala, now we're really going to talk about Kamala. We're going to talk about the politics, and I'm going to go over the weekly transits, and then we'll do the horoscopes. Okay, so I have Kamala's chart up right now with the current vibe in the sky. Okay, and I wanted to talk about her perfection year, and it is in her 12th house currently. And the ruler of her 12th house is Venus, because her 12th house is ruled by Taurus, and Venus is trining. It's very positive, actually. Venus, let me see. Her Venus is trining her 12th house. That means they could see each other. It's working really good for her, and she's sitting in power next to that Venus, and it just seems positive. And I'm just saying, again, I'm reiterating that it seems like she's going to win. This is unbiased opinion. I'm not saying I'm voting for her or not voting for her. I'm just telling you what the astrology says. Now, during November, actually, let me go to the month here. And that's more during voting time. I looked her up, and which I've done several times, but we're doing it again. During November time, her perfection month is in the 2nd house. And that means this is her earnings, this is her resources, her possessions. It's ruled by Cancer, which is representing America. Okay. And again, very positive. It's like a lot of people are giving her resources, giving her what she values, and it's almost like she's just going to win. Okay, it's very popular. The moon is very popular as well too. Now Mercury is conjunct. Mercury retrograding is conjunct Venus in her 4th house. Okay, and this is me looking at my notes and going back, and this is not during the time of the elections, the voting. This is just me looking at the chart and what's coming up this week. And when you have coming, let me actually put now. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. Move the chart, and it's distracting. Okay, so August 5th is when I am recording this. And when you have Mercury, which we'll talk about Mercury in a minute for ourselves. But you have Mercury retrograding, and it's happening in her 4th house. It's also going to be conjunct Venus. That's also happening in her 4th house. It's also going to be on top of her IC, right? And IC represents home and also represents America. There's also could represent the opposite party. And Mercury retrograding in Virgo is discussing some clearing out. There could be some clearing out, maybe a discussion from her past could be coming up, because the 4th house does represent her past. But the Virgo energy means clear out, okay? Or maybe being very detailed, or being very meticulous, or something about a woman. There could be some analyzing some data. Maybe this is also, Virgo energy is also talking about service. And let me just be very clear, a service, a job that could be representing a service. So service can be anything. Like you can be a nurse giving service, but you also could be a prostitute giving service. So I just want you to be very clear. So it could be her being a civil service, a public servant, or it could also be discussions of prostitution. And I'm only bringing that up because Venus is sitting close to here. And as Mercury starts to retrograde and hit her Venus and hit the planet that also represents sexuality, this could be discussed too, or something that's very not usually discussed. And I just feel like her sexuality, not her gender. Is gender and sexuality the same? Okay, sorry, my ignorance on that. But I just feel like her sexual past is going to be brought up. That's what I think. Yeah, but this also could be not looking over details when she's having her speeches, discussing the opposition of her political party, or maybe her political party, or they're going to bring this up, not her political party, the opposition, which are the Republicans. They could be bringing this up. They could be talking about her work ethic or vice versa. But that's Virgo energy, work ethic. And then overlooking details. a lot of criticism about improving, because that is what Virgo represents, and it's retrograding. So it gets nasty. There's rumors, there's stories, but all of these are going to be related to the Virgo thing. Yeah. And also, in order for her to get support, this is going to be an issue, because you have the support here and the support here. And these things are going to be discussed. And are they going to be negative or positive? Because that retrograde just seems very nasty already. Okay. Rumors about her being a female, that could be discussed. Or not just like, is she a female, but what is she doing about her female energy, regarding her cleanliness, her virginity. Okay. That could be all in question when we have Mercury retrograding on top of that, Venus. Now the sun in Leo, where's our sun? Our sun in Leo in that third house is going to be on top of that Mars. And when you have it moving this way and it gets on top of that Mars in that third house of communication, she could have a boost of assertiveness and confidence coming up towards this week. And maybe a boost of communication and mental energy and quick thinking. She could be very sharp and very focused and increase activity. Her being a natural leader, that's going to be shown more as we get closer to the sun in Leo and the energy. Mars is all about the drive and energy, right? So all that could be happening. This also could be some conflict and aggression. Leo is very aggressive. Mars is like, come on, let's get it. Let's get it. And we're going to fight to the end. So that could be happening. Maybe she has the potential to manage some aggression, or maybe there's aggression coming her way in regards to third house is all about communication and speeches. But this also could have a strength and focus on her community and collaborating. Wonder if there's going to be an announcement on a man here, because that sun sitting on top of that, let's see when it sits directly on top, around the 13th. Yeah, all this is going to get closer, and as she gets closer to the 13th, and then it winds down. But this sun regarding announcements, because we have this third house, there could be an announcement on her VP, maybe before the Democratic convention. That could be happening too. With that, that Mars could represent a guy, and she's shining light on top of a guy who is a leader and who's going to be her leader. Yeah. Also, I wanted to say in her chart, without getting too personal, but she is running for president. So I think that this is important to say. This chart here, this aspect not only could represent a woman who's going to be in power, who's doing something different. This also can represent someone who had a sexual past in this fourth house. And it was something out of the blue, and it could have been violent. We don't have this planet of violence in here, but this power planet could be happening here. It also could represent that she did what the rumors are, sleep her way to the top. That could be happening here. You know, someone who is using their sexuality to have power, and she's using it in different ways to have power. I mean, this one is not in different ways, but this is some unexpected, you know, kind of energy. So I'm just throwing this out there. I just want you guys to understand that there could be some truth to it. You know, there could be some truth. Or it could be the opposite, that her past had some sexual surprises that weren't even good, and someone was taking control over her sexually. That is what that can also represent. Now, I want to talk about this T-square that's going to happen on the 14th, and we'll discuss this again for us personally. But there is a huge T-square that's going to happen August 14th. You have Venus and Mars and Jupiter, they're conjunct. This is going to affect everyone, okay? Especially the mutable signs, but she is a mutable rising, a Gemini rising. So it's going to affect our Virgos risings, our Gemini risings, our Sagittarius risings, our Pisces risings, okay? But so you have these two planets, they're conjunct, they're hugging, and that strong energy, it's huge with aggression, especially when speaking, okay? And so you have this. And this is going to square Saturn, the planet of restrictions, in the sign Pisces. So you can't see the restrictions. They're very unclear, but there are some restrictions. And then you have it squaring Venus, which is all about her support system, which could be affecting the things that I just talked about, okay? Now this is not on the 19th. This is actually on the 14th. And Jupiter in conjunct Mars in her first house, it could be that she's having energy. She's very impulsive. There's a lot of action. There's drive. She's very popular, very charming. She's attracting a lot of attention. Now, when it's squaring Saturn in that 10th house, it could be making her dreams a reality. However, there's a problem. It's moving too slow. It's being restricted. It's not, there's no progression. She's not being respected by authority. She's not being taken seriously. And all this energy and drive that she's doing, there is some type of challenge happening when it comes to her being respected far as her as a career, okay? And her public reputation is unclear. She's having some service-orientated goals and they're not being achieved, okay? Challenges and lessons with her public image could be happening, and challenges and lessons with this support could be happening, okay? Now, this is also crossing her power and her sense of power, and then this support. So you have a lot of that, and I think this is really going to hit her hard. Let's see if it's going to be public, because this Pluto can make it private behind closed doors, especially in that 4th house. It could be happening within our homes, but that Saturn also represents some fears and feeling inadequate and navigating uncertainty. Now, when you have that Venus in that 4th house, in a sign Virgo, its perfections in relationships within America are regarding this political party that's opposing her. Venus in Virgo can emphasize practical attention to the detail and desire to be a perfectionist within her home. Could also represent her country, okay? Venus in Virgo is going to value service and loyalty and being practical and constructive criticism. And maybe she's overcritical and there's some fear with this, or maybe she's being demanding on herself and others, and she's trying to improve and there's limitations here, okay? Support at home and improving may be in question here, because we have at home relationships with her mother may be in question here, because that is the 4th house. Relationships with her past, 4th house. Venus represents relationships, and this could be all challenging. And that T-square and that Venus, and these two are opposing. So this is going to be the challenge with the support, are the women, or her past, or her sexual past, or her relationships. And this is the focus point here. The focus point is the Mars and Venus. I mean, the Venus and Jupiter. Yeah, oh, maybe they're her. She needs to be serious about her image and needs to balance between being liked and being serious, which we had the problem with last week, okay? Overall, I think there could be a question about her sexual past, because Venus is on top of her Venus, on top of her Pluto, on top of that Uranus. And I think that conjunction is going to surprise us, and there's going to be some announcements discussing her sexual past. Let's see if it even happens. It is going to happen. I'm not questioning that, but will we know? Because it could be dealing some secrets. It could be a sexual secretive past. Pluto is here to transform, though. There could be a transformation happening there. It opposes her wounded healer at the same time, that Chiron. So this can hurt her, or this could be a sexual past that hurted her. Is that a word, hurted? That wounded her from the past. So that's why I think it's something that is, it's really sad that this is out in the public, but you know, she's running for president. So there you go. Saturn is on top of her Chiron. So there is some healing, there's some wounds, and there's restricted and coldness there. I'm talking about her life lessons and her wounds from the life lesson, and self-care could be mixed in with her career. That's what I have for some notes here, okay? But a lot of tension. Mercury has a lot to say with this T-square, because Mercury is in charge here of that. Mercury's in charge of the Gemini. Mercury's in charge of the Virgo. And so what is Mercury doing? Mercury's retrograding. So it's got a lot of backwards rumors, secrets, all that is going to be said. That's why I think this might be said to us, and it wasn't meant to be said to us. Venus in Virgo, Gemini rising, a lot of Mercury energy. And at the same time, Mercury is at 0 degrees when we have this T-square. So it's very potent and it's acting up, okay? When it's at 0 degrees, that means it's young, it's intense, it's new, it's very energetic in that sign of Virgo. So a lot of discussions of her virginity. Are you clean? Are you being a hard worker? Are you a lot of criticism? Yes. All that could be said. So just be aware of that T-square, which will be affecting a lot of people. Also Biden too. I also wanted to look at the eclipse for her. Let me go there real quick. And which eclipse is this that I'm looking at? The 17th. This lunar eclipse is going to happen in her 10th house in the sign Pisces. This can represent a change here. You have this, there's a death of something, and you know, I won't say death, I'll say ending, okay? But you know, there is something of that, or some illusions here, okay? I'm trying to keep it PG and keep it respectable, but I want you guys to read in between the lines. But this is also dealing with her public image, right? And now you have this eclipse, and it's going to sextile Jupiter, which is positive. So there could be some new positive things happening, and her Jupiter is in that first house, so very positive. Jupiter is also in the secret, so maybe we won't know what will be happening. It'll be behind closed doors. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to cut it off and I'm back, but I just want to say that sextile Jupiter is very positive. And let me see, sextile her Jupiter, which could be secrets, but there's some unexpected secrets here with that Uranus sitting on top of there, and it's been sitting on top of there for a minute, in a big way, which could also, you know, unexpected energy in what she values, and her being president also happened, her being announced president. But I just want you to understand that the moon seems very important in regards to Biden, because he announced during a full moon or a new moon, I forgot which one, that he was stepping down. We have a full moon happening during the Democratic Party. So we paying attention to the moon when it comes to Kamala getting stuff, okay, and doing things. So I just want you to be aware that there is a lunar eclipse in her 10th house of career and public image. So this is something that we will see. It's going to square her DC, which is about open enemies, and may not be working for Trump. This may not be affecting her. This may be affecting Trump in a negative way. It's going to quincunx her sun, which is about her ego, and her sun, which is about her ego in regards to relationship. But I wonder if this is affecting Biden in some way. And it's supposed to also quincunx her Mercury, like she has to give a very uncomfortable speech. I wonder, maybe uncomfortable with the change that is happening, or the ending of something, okay? The ending of something. Now, on October 2nd, let's move this chart to the other eclipse. That comes October 2nd. And remember, the eclipse are not the day of. It's gradually going to happen. It may happen early, may happen a little bit later, but like a month later, I'm just letting you know. I know it's like, why can't we know the day of? No, it's not going to happen the day of. That's not how God works, okay? Now, we have a solar eclipse, and this solar eclipse is usually stronger, okay? And is a lunar eclipse? Solar eclipse is stronger. And October 2nd is the end. It could represent the end of a battle, okay? New beginnings, the birth of a king. Here she is. She is now president. And I'm wondering what this election is going to look like, what this voting situation is going to look like. I am so intrigued, you guys. I am watching every step of this, okay? Now it's going to conjunct her south node. The south node, where's our eclipse? Here's the eclipse. Look at this eclipse, y'all. This eclipse is all up in the business, in their 5th house of leadership. Now it's going to conjunct the south node in her. It's like, release the past. You are the leader. That could be happening, okay? Like, release, it's opposing the north node. Like, come on, we need to work on this future. You're not working on the future, but release this past. Just, I don't know, okay? In her 5th house, it's like the eclipse cannot see the future. Maybe it's going to give us confusion with her future. That could be happening too, okay? In the 5th house of leadership, it's conjunct Mercury, so there is some announcements. This eclipse, October 2nd, there is some announcements, okay? There are some messages. This also could be representing the ballots and the voting. Are they cutting that? Are they changing the way we vote? This could be happening. New ways of voting, new ways of counting the votes. This could be happening. Communication with mental focus, networking opportunities, weighing your options, new relationships in leadership, because she has that Libra energy. This also could be changing the law. That could be happening. Now, squaring Mars in Cancer. And where's Mars? It's not working. Oh, so this is how the eclipse is going to work for the collective, the world. But with her, it's in her 2nd house of what she values. There is aggression here and achieving. This Mars later on too is going to retrograde. But It's squaring in her second house, so conflicting communication, impulsive speeches. She's very assertive, emotional reaction, because we have that sign Cancer. Starting something new is because Cancer is a cardinal sign. Cancer also represents America, okay? Catalyst for change, new beginnings, causes tension, stress regarding her resources, her possessions, her wealth, or what she values. Is going to quincunx, this eclipse is going to quincunx, let me see, Saturn in the sky, but the Saturn is in her 10th house. Remember, it's right on top of that Chiron of a wounded healer, okay? Or maybe what she's supposed to pursue, her what is it, the word I'm trying to think of, her purpose too, okay? Chiron represents more than just a wounded energy. Chiron was very intelligent and was very resourceful. I'm trying to think of everything. I'm losing my words, but I have it written down, and I wish, I just like to put all my notes. I have a Mars in Gemini, so I'm very wordy. So it bugs me when I didn't put everything in my notes. Anyway, but you have this on top of this 10th house, so there's some adjustments. There are some uncomfortableness and challenges with authority and limits. Maybe an elder man, okay? Not Trump, because Trump is an open enemy, and it looks like he has some good fortune here. That's what that looks like in that 7th house. But during this time, during this solar eclipse, there is some unclear or secret restrictions that does not work or causes some tension. On top of her Chiron in Pisces, there's wounds for her, maybe her public life, adjustments between work and personal healing through work, or her purpose can cause some tension. Okay. Yeah, that eclipse doesn't look bad. Doesn't look great for her. The eclipse kind of don't look great, but you never know. That could be amazing. Maybe it's shutting something down to open a new door for her. I still overall think she's going to win. Okay. Whether voting for Trump or not, I just think she's going to win. Let's go mosey on to Biden. Unless we get some new people, but from the people we have now, okay, she's looking positive. Okay. Now let's talk about Biden. And I think the current transits. Okay, Saturn's still in that 4th house of restriction, not feeling safe in his home, in that White House, some movement in his White House, not being clear, the ending of him living in the White House, all that, absent from the home, all that is just something we knew already, okay? Uranus is sitting in that 6th house of unhealthy. And I just want you to realize that Uranus in that 6th house of health is not good, okay? It's opposing his sun, which is his body, his physical body. There could be some secrets or some endings there as far as his health, and it's very unexpected. Is also opposing his Venus, his support system, and his wife is sitting there. And then Mercury and thinking and communicating, all is shut down, and it's unexpectedly shut down and ending, okay? Health is a huge concern. Pluto represents death. Why am I talking about Pluto? Where did I put Pluto in here? Oh, because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Okay, I'm trying to see, where is his Pluto? Pluto's in his 3rd house of speaking. Pluto here. Let me see. Yeah, no, I'm thinking it's something. What happened here? August. Here we have another here. No, nothing happened there. Okay, so Scorpio is the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, and Pluto could represent death and rebirth. Also, Uranus is an unexpected event. So I'm still thinking his health is not the best. Okay. May 2025, Uranus is going to, when we turn to the next year, Uranus is going to oppose his sun at 27 degrees. That could be something huge, and there could be a huge announcement with that. He's also 81, and I looked at his perfection year age, and it's in the 8th house, and that's dealing with Pluto. And I just told you what Pluto represents, death and rebirth, right? Now, his is dealing in a sign Cancer, so losing popularity in America was going to happen this year. The moon was in the 8th house of health and regarding his body, and the 8th house doesn't. The 8th house, again, represents some endings of some sort, okay? And some secrets, or trying to really be powerful. And clearly it didn't work out. August 14th, he has a T-square. And let's go to August 14th for him, because I said this T-square will affect everyone, but mostly mutable signs. And what is he? He's a mutable rising. He's a Sagittarius rising. So it's opposing this Jupiter. All this is opposing his rising sign, like hardcore. So there's challenges with his appearance and challenges with luck. It can't see eye to eye. There's oppositions with his purpose, his approach in life, or his physical body. Now, his wife or Kamala, communication can be enhanced because they are representing this relationship and this open enemies too. Because I don't think he liked Kamala. I know they were partners, but I don't know if they saw eye to eye. Not working with his lack of foundation and his White House. And this could be representing all rising sign. I'm looking at the time and I realize I'm spending so much time on politics, but I wanted to look at the eclipse real quick for him, and we'll look at, let me see. The first eclipse, which happens on the 17th, is opposite for him, right? So like the moon was in from Kamala. The moon was in this house for Kamala, and the sun was in this house for Kamala, and it's actually flipped. Where her moon was in the 10th house and his in the 4th. Okay, so it's like they're flipping roles, literally. It trines his planets of the 12th house. So I'm still looking at his health, okay? Still looking at some endings in Pisces and the end of his career. And sun can represent your health, and the eclipse could also represents the end of a leader, physically, and through words too. Okay. May announce Jupiter as the 4th house. She may make some announcements here, or somebody's making announcements in a big way, still in his 4th house of open enemies and his wife. And okay, now then if we look at the second, recently used. Okay, so if we look at the second eclipse, this is happening in his 11th house on top of his MC right there. And yeah, so new beginnings and announcements on votes, and rulers of his 11th house is Venus, and Venus is in his 12th house where he has his support and his money, and he's losing separations, he's losing his support. All that is happening with the second eclipse, which we already knew because he's leaving. And so good feelings or aggressions, dramatic energy could be happening. Look at that, because that's on top of there. The support secretly could be happening. The wife could be supporting him secretly, behind closed doors, not secretly, but behind closed doors. The female on top of Mars, meaning like, I'm taking over, I'm Kamala now, I'm here to take over, give me the mic, give me the throne, whatever. It's opposing his IC of safety here. What's opposing? What is opposing? The 4th? Yeah. Okay, so no, that would be the 10th. What is opposing? Maybe it's quincunx. It's quincunx, his IC, is it? Oh no, it's opposing his IC. Ooh, the IC of self and being a home alone and safety. Yeah, major new beginnings there. That eclipse is all about eclipsing and cutting things out. So you have that. It's sextiling his Pluto and Leo, so a change in presidency, and that works out for him, but it's squaring Mars and Saturn. So challenges with power regarding his driving energy, and especially when it comes to home and safety and his security, okay? Yeah, so that's what we have for Biden. The gist of it, from all the details, because it probably could be overwhelming amount of words and details, is that I just see physically for him, there's a lot of endings happening for him. So watch out for that. The moon, again, is when he made his announcement that he was going to step down. So we should look at the moon again regarding a lot of other things, okay? Now, let's talk about Trump real quick. And let me pull up his chart. Where is Trump? Here we go. Now, Trump, okay, let me just talk about his perfection year, okay? And perfection is looking, you can do a lot of predictions with perfection and knowing what you should do this year, next year, at this age, that age, okay, and this month, okay? So his perfection year is the 7th house, where it's about secret enemies. It's in a sign Pisces, okay? And what is his age? I had to Google his age because whatever, but it's the 7th house. And the 7th house for him, is it Pisces? Perfection, 7th house, secret enemies. Secret open enemies, because it was in Pisces. Now, is this his chart? Yeah. Secret on the enemies, because it was about Pisces. Why do I have that? Seventh house. This seventh house looks like the ruler is Aquarius. Is that his seventh house? I'm so not used to looking at it without, yeah, because he's a Leo. Okay, so it's seventh house. I wonder if I was looking at his chart somewhere else on a different device, which I don't have the correct time in a different device. But it's the ruler is Aquarius. And when you have the ruler in Aquarius, okay, so his perfection year, I said the ruler is Aquarius, and Aquarius traditional ruler is Saturn, and Saturn is in that 12th house of endings. This is no, I just don't think it's going to work out for him. Okay, it's just no, it's no bueno for him, and I think that this is another sign of it's not going to work out for him. Okay, losing support, restrictions, especially within his home. The 12th house represents the end. Okay, Mercury's retrograding. Okay, now let me put up the current charts for him. Current charts. Oh, but then I lost him. Hold on, hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some. Okay, so now we have Donald Trump, and we're looking at the current week for him. Okay, Mercury is going to be retrograding. It's going to be affecting everyone, but it's going to be retrograding in that second house. And while it's retrograding at the beginning, it's going to be sitting on his ascendant, because this is actually on the 5th. And oh, today is the 5th. It already passed his ascendant. So rumors, I wonder if that's the day that he was sitting here like, she's black. When he talked about Kamala, I wonder if it was that day. Anyway, but we have it in the second house, and the second house is all about his resources and what he deems valuable, and there are questioning and meticulous, being very meticulous and being very critical of all that. So reviewing his finances, boosting his self-worth, or questioning what he's worth, revisiting relationships. Is he changing his VP too? Because this could be happening when it comes to that second house. The second house ruler is Virgo. Duh, I don't know why I said that. But I feel like when these two touch, is he like, I want to clear out my partnership, my relationship, because Venus represents relationships. And I mean, even though he is a male, this could be a questioning, or maybe he's questioning Kamala and being very meticulous about her and questioning her. Now, she still has the power of unexpected power up in that house of his open enemy. So she's still looking good in the hood in his chart. Okay. Now we have August 14th. We have that T-square, which is going to affect everyone, especially our mutable signs. Now he is a Sun in Gemini. So this is affecting him. And now you have a major, and it's sitting on top of that. Now you have major drive, and he's ready to party and have luck with his goals, unexpected changes, new announcements, emails. And yeah, because it's sitting on top of there. So really huge. It's been sitting on top of there, but it gets more aggressive when these two get conjunct and get together. So let's see how that's going to work. And it's about something he needs to release. He's already done this twice. So here we go, because it's sitting on top of that. No, it's on his north node of things he should be achieving. So yeah, he's really going to be working with that and going against his emotions. Okay. Now, let me see what else we have. Oh, the Saturn is sitting there in the 8th house. So power and really being obsessed with power is limiting him. He can't see who's the powerful one, though. There's some restriction there regarding power, the support of resources. He may be losing some money regarding whatever announcements he's trying to make, or whatever huge. Yeah, it's a huge aggressive announcement. That's all I can think of, or being very social. And he's going to lose support. There's conflict regarding the support and the restriction of the support. Okay. And it's someone of power, and they have good luck, and it's very unclear who's the powerful one. And the focus point here is this aggression with discussing and speech. I wonder if he's going to say a bad speech, and it's going to come off very aggressive. Let's see how that happens. Now, this eclipse for him, but it's going to affect him because he's got that Gemini sun. He's got those Gemini placements. Okay. Now let's do the eclipse. What am I always get confused? And we're going to do the lunar eclipse first because that's on the 17th. It also represents some endings. This is happening in his 8th house, ending of powers. This again makes me think his chart isn't good for winning. It's going to square his moon. The moon is in leadership. That 5th house represents his personal brand too. That again is another cut, okay, to the ego of him publishing out to the world. That's what Sagittarius will represent. Conjunct this releasing of this South Node. You've done this before in the past, emotionally detached. So that's what we have, and it squares his sun and the North Node. And when it squares that, that's the ego, and that's the drive. And this is unexpected messages or news could be happening there, and it's going to end the eclipse again, ending of something. Close to the eclipse, it's close to the eclipse of endings or change, representing change with his open enemies. Why do I have that set there? Let's see. Saturn is the ruler of his open enemies in a sign Aquarius. Okay. Oh, this eclipse is sitting close to his open enemies. So yeah, so the open enemies could be like, yeah, we cutting the power for you, homie. You ain't president no more. I'm not cheering. I'm not saying I want this. I'm just saying, I'm just reading what it says. Okay. Now, but Saturn is opposing Mercury and Virgo, which shouldn't be retrograding at that time. So you have this opposing argument over things that he values, and his ego is dealing in there too. What else? Saturn opposing Mercury and Virgo during this eclipse, not good regarding, could be something with his health too, because Virgo does represent health. Our details are being meticulous, are clearing something out. Okay. October 2nd, we have the solar eclipse, right? And this is attached to news because it's attached to that Mercury. So, and then it's in his 3rd house. So the news and the speeches are going to be really big, day-to-day activities, something in his community or his environment, his siblings. I don't know if he has siblings, but there's something there. It's conjunct Neptune. His Neptune is on top of that Neptune, which again is about delusion and conspiracy theories and secrets and what can we not see? Something's not clear. And his Chiron, which is healing and regarding relationships. So he could be indecisive. Maybe there's something dealing with law. Maybe there's something dealing with a partner. He can have new news in his partnership. Neptune can represent ending confusion and secrets. The healing aspect and luck and abundance and growth is sextile his Pluto, and Pluto is representing change and transformation and power. And there could be a shift with that with this eclipse. Again, none of it looks too good. Even though it's sextiling, it just doesn't look good. He could change the power to another power, but not leadership. Okay. Squaring Mercury in the sign Cancer. Cancer represents his home. Mercury represents announcements of his home, and it's like he's held back. He's in jail. Okay. Hidden motives or hidden agenda conversations is not working with this eclipse. The eclipse doesn't look good for him. Didn't look that good for Kamala. Looked better for Kamala, but didn't look good for Trump. Overall, Biden has some stuff this week that he's dealing with, and especially with that mutable square coming, that's going to affect his health. And Kamala, there may be discussions of her sexual past. Trump may be announcing a new VP. This is just what I think, but the eclipse is not working for him, okay? So now we are going to get, now that is what we have for our political things.